Catholics, please stop doing this. And Protestants, please stop accusing Catholics of doing this. I had a conversation with a friend who had recently come back to the Catholic Church, and she was telling me how one of her Protestant friends asked her why she worshiped Mary. And she said, oh yeah, I love to worship Mary because of this, and this, and Mary's the best, Mary's the greatest. Okay, stop. Big problems all around. Catholics do not worship Mary. Do not. If any Catholic has ever said they worship Mary, they were misspeaking and they were not representing the Catholic Church's doctrine as a whole. And if any Protestants ever accused a Catholic of worshiping Mary, it's either because they're misinformed or lying. So what is worship, and why is that different than what we do with Mary or the saints as Catholics? What we mean when we say worship is a Greek word called latria. Latria means to adore or to worship as God, to recognize something as creator and not created, to recognize it as the supreme good and the source of all goodness. That's latria. No creature, not Mary, not any of the angels or the saints, no creature receives that from any Catholic who has any idea what they're talking about. Latria is for God alone. Worship, adoration for God alone. However, underneath latria, we have something called Dulia. And Dulia is usually translated into English as veneration. So do we latria the saints and Mary? No. No, that would be the sin of idolatry. That would break the first commandment, and that would ultimately lead you to hell. We do not latria or worship or adore Mary and the saints. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen in any church, any Catholic church across the country or across the world for that matter. It doesn't exist. However, we do have something called Dulia. What is Dulia? Dulia is usually translated as veneration, and it's respect or honor shown to an individual because of some excellence that they have. If somebody is in heaven, as we believe Mary is, or any of the saints, then they are God's friend. And by showing honor to the king's friends, and by showing honor to the creator's creatures, we show honor to the creator. We show honor to the king. If a painter were in a room and he was standing next to this masterpiece he had just created, this beautiful, gorgeous painting, one of a kind, never been done before, the most beautiful thing anybody'd ever seen, and you walk into the art gallery and you look at the painting and you say, wow, that's beautiful. The artist is not going to say, well, what about me? I'm standing right here. I made that. No, the artist is going to say, thank you. Thank you for recognizing the good work that I did. Thank you. So by honoring the painting, you're honoring the painter. In the same way, whenever you honor the saints who God has made holy, you're honoring the creator by honoring his creation. Whenever Catholics pray to the saints or venerate the saints, what we're doing is we're not recognizing that that saint became good because of their works apart from God, independent of God. No. What we're doing is we're recognizing that God has made something beautiful in St. Peter. God has made something beautiful in St. Paul and St. John and St. Padre Pio and the Blessed Virgin Mary. God has created something beautiful. And he wants us to look at those good things that he made and to be moved by the beauty and to honor and glorify and thank him for that. That's how it works. So, main takeaways from today. We do not, as Catholics, worship Mary. If you are a Catholic and you are saying that you worship Mary, please stop. It's not true. It's not true. It's not correct. And you need to amend your language. If you're a Protestant and you accuse Catholics of worshiping Mary, please stop. It's not true. It's not true, and it's slanderous, now that you know this distinction, to continue to say that. We do not worship or latria the Blessed Virgin Mary. As a closing remark, I'll say this. If you read old writings of the saints in English, sometimes you'll find passages titled the worship of the saints, or something like this. The word worship has undergone a change in English. This is why Latin and Greek are the languages that need to be prioritized when studying theology. Because the English language is not a dead language. It still changes, and it changes all the time. If anybody's ever talked to a 12-year-old, you know they're using words that don't mean what they used to mean. They don't mean that at all. The language undergoes change, and it undergoes change very quickly sometimes. So if you read in Latin, or if you read in Greek, you won't find any of the Catholic authors saying they Latria Mary. It's not there. It's not there. If you read in English, one of the older writers and one of the older authors talks about the worship of the saints. What they mean is Dulia, or veneration, but that word has undergone a change in English.